Hi, good to see you again. Welcome to Block 3, Developing Numbers Sense, Lesson 7. I'll share my screen. So, in your previous lesson, you learned how to use estimation to check your calculations. In today's lesson, you're going to learn how to use known number facts to derive other number facts or other facts. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with those you think can benefit from it, and click on the notification bell to make sure that when new videos are released, you will be notified. Before we start, I would like you to pause the video and answer questions 1 and 2 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 1 and 2, let's discuss the answers. For question 1, you were asked to write down an addition and a multiplication calculation that could be represented by this model. So the calculation could be 23 add 23 add 23 add 23 add 23. Next, for question 2, the calculation could also be 23 times 5. For question 2, you were asked to work out these calculations. So 12 times 5 is 60, and 6 times 10 is 60. But for question C, did you use the question to help you answer that question? All right. So this is one of the things we're going to be learning in this lesson. So using existing known facts to answer questions. And similarly here for D. So we've used the inverse operation to answer this question. All right, let's do some new learning for this lesson. For this calculation, what other calculations can you deduce from these known facts that you can see in the bar model? You can see here that we can see 15 add 22, which is 37. We can also see that this calculation can be written as 22 add 15. Which other calculations can you see? Well, you can also see that you have 37 subtract 22. You can also see the calculation 37 subtract 15. So hopefully you were able to find out these different calculations that we can deduce from the known facts that we know about the bar model. What can you use to find out the answer to the question 150 plus 220? What known facts can you see here that can help you do this calculation? Well, you can see this known fact here that we have simply made the 150 10 times bigger and the 15 10 times bigger, and the 22 we've made it 10 times bigger. So 15 add 22 is like saying 15 ones plus 22 ones equal to 37 ones. Now, this is the same thing as saying 15 tens add 22 tens, of course, will give us 37 tens. So we've just used a known fact to answer this question that could have looked difficult. What about this one? Again, we'll apply the same approach. So this is 3700 minus 2200, which will still give us, have a think? Of course, 1500. Let's look at this calculation. What known facts can we write from this bar model? Well, there are different known facts that we can write from this bar model. We can see that this bar model can be represented as 4 lots of 6, or 6 lots of 4 equal to 24. What about this one? We know that using the inverse calculation, 24 divided by 4 will be equal to 6. Have a think, what other calculation can you write? Of course, you can write that 4 times 6 is equal to 24. So multiplication is commutative. And I'm sure you've noticed this calculation as well. 24 divided by 6 is equal to 4. It's now time for you to pause the video and answer questions 1 and 2. So pause the video and answer questions 1 and 2 in 4 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 1 and 2, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 1, you were asked, here is a bar model. Use the bar model to work out the calculations. And here are the calculations. So remember, for a bar model, we add the bars. And you can see that expressed in this calculation. So here we have 400 subtract 270. So these are the different calculations that we can deduce from the bar model. Here we have for question 2, you were asked, here is a bar model. Use the bar model to work out the calculations. And you can see the different calculations that we can deduce from the bar model. So this is the same thing as 12 lots of 6 or 6 lots of 12. And the calculation is commutative, so we can write it like this. Here, we can also use the inverse operation to get the result 12. And same here, the inverse operation to get the result 6. What about this calculation? We're going to use this fact above to work out some calculations below. Now, we're going to look at each of the numbers, how they relate to each other, so that we can deduce what the answer would be using the actual known fact here. So we can see that, well, I'll let you have a think and see what you come up with. So you can see here that for this calculation, we have made 17 10 times bigger. But we're still multiplying by 23. So not much has changed. So our answer will be 10 times bigger. Here we can see that we have made 339,100 100 times bigger. But then again, we are dividing by a number that we have made 10 times bigger. So actually, if I told you what is 100 divided by 10, you would tell me that it is 10. So effectively, our answer is just going to be 10 times bigger, which is 23 times 10, which is 230. What about this one? We're going to use this fact above to work out the calculations below. We're going to compare each of the calculations, the numbers in the calculations, to the actual known facts that we have been given. So here we have 179 at 545. Well, if you take a look, you would see that 179 is just one more than 178, but we're still adding 545. So it means our answer will just be one more than 723, which is 724. Let's look at the next one. We can see here that 180 is 2 more than 178, and then 546 is 1 more than 545. So if we add these two numbers, our answer will actually be 3 more, because 2 plus 1 is 3. Our answer will be 3 more than 723, which will be 726. Now look at this calculation. Tell me what you think. Well, we can see that we have made 188. We've added 10 to 178 to get 188. But we're still adding 545. So it means our answer will just be 10 more than 723, which is 733. Now, note this one here, we're doing a subtraction. So we still have 723, but we are subtracting 547, so which is 2 more than we should actually subtract if we were going to do the inverse calculation using these numbers here. So it means our answer will be 2 less than 178, because if we did the inverse operation just using these numbers, our answer would actually be 178. So our answer should be 176. What about division calculation like this? So this is another example. Here, Mo says 94,500 divided by 3,500 is 2,700, because 945 and 35 have both been multiplied by 100. So I multiply 27 by 100. Well, there are different ways to think about this calculation, but I want you to have a think. Do you agree with Mo? Well, let's see by thinking about this example. If I told you 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2, you would agree, right? But what if we made 10 10 times bigger and 5 10 times bigger? Well, we effectively have the same answer. Another way to think about it is, what is 10 divided by 10? It is 1. So you have simply just made the numbers 10 times bigger, but they divide each other out and you effectively have the same answer. So Mo is wrong. The answer remains the same. It's now time for you to pause the video and practice what you've learned. So pause the video and answer questions 3 and 4 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 3 and 4, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 3, you will ask, here is another bar model, and you're given the bar model. Use the bar model to work out these calculations. And you can see that, remember, for the bar model, we add the bars. So we're going to add the bars, 62 and 25, which will be equal to the big bar, which is 87. And then we can use that to answer this question as well. That is simply just 10 times bigger. So the answer will be 10 times bigger. This is 100 times bigger. So the answer will be 100 times bigger. For this one, we're simply doing the calculation 870 minus 250. Now, if we were to do the calculation ordinarily doing the inverse operation, we would have 62. But we've just made it 10 times bigger. So that would be 620. And it's the same approach we have used here. For question 4, you will ask, here is a multiplication fact. Use the fact to explain why 230 times 15 is 3,450. Well, 230 times 15 is 23 times 10 times 15. So we've simply just made one of the numbers 10 times bigger. So our answer will be 10 times bigger. And you can see the calculation rewritten here. And then we're asked to use the fact to explain why 230 times 150 is equal to 34,500. Again, notice that we have made 23 10 times bigger and we have made 15 10 times bigger. Well, if I ask you what is 10 times 10, you would tell me it's 100. So our answer must be 100 times bigger than the actual multiplication fact that we were given. And you can see the calculations written here. Pause the video and answer question 5 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 5, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 5, A and B, you were given this calculation. You're asked to explain how each student can use this calculation to work out their problem. Of course, they can do it in different ways. So you can see here that 273 is one more than 272. So the answer will simply be just one more than 459. And here you can see that 177 is 10 times smaller than 108, 10 less than 187. But you're still adding 272. So your answer will be 10 less. And you can see the answer right there. For questions C and D, you were asked, I want to work out, she says, I want to work out 460 minus 187. And then using these known facts, how could we do this calculation? Well, you can see the calculation here that this could be written as 459 add 1 minus 187. And then 459 minus 187 add 1. This is a different way to write it. And we know that 272 add 1 is equal to 273. And that should be our answer. For question D, you will ask, use this calculation to work out these problems. And you can see the calculation here. So our answer will just be 10 times bigger. And these are the missing numbers for doing the inverse operation using Teddy's calculation. Pause the video and answer question 6 in 4 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 6, here are the answers. So using these facts, we can work out this calculation. So we know 17 times 39 is equal to 663. So you can see that this is 10 times bigger, 170 compared to 17, but we're still multiplying by 39. So our answer from the fact will just be 10 times bigger. And we've used the same method for these calculations. Here, the answer, this 1.7 is 10 times smaller than 17. So your answer will be 10 times smaller. So it's 663, 66.3. Here, we have made this 10 times smaller. So the answer would be 66.3, 10 times smaller. Here, by having 1.7 and 3.9, we have made these 10 times smaller, and then that one 10 times smaller. So together, we have made our answer 100 times smaller. So that would be 663 divided by 100, which will be 6.63. Here, we have 663 divided by 17. Of course, our answer will be 39. So we've done the inverse operation. And then here we have 66,300 divided by 1.7. That would be 39,000. And this is the answer for this one, doing the inverse operation. Pause the video and answer question 7 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 7, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 7, here you were asked to work out the multiplication facts on his calculator. So Mo works out this multiplication fact on his calculator, and you were asked to circle any calculation that will give the same answer. These calculations would give the same answer. Why? Because you've simply made this 10 times bigger, but again, you have made that 10 times smaller. So the effect negates each other or cancel each other out. This one, you've made this 10 times smaller, but this one, you've made this 10 times bigger. So the calculation will stay the same. Pause the video and answer question 8 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 8, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 8, you're asked to complete each calculation in 3 different ways. And there are different ways you can do this. Using the multiplication facts, you can do these calculations in different ways. And these are the different ways you can do them. So mark your work and celebrate your success. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. So well done for sticking around and for taking your lesson really seriously. Until next time, take really good care of yourself, and bye-bye.